The sky over Earth looked normal at first. Birds flew, clouds drifted, and the sun shone gently over the cities. People went about their lives, not knowing that something from far beyond their stars was coming. Deep in space, an Imperial Armada moved silently, faster than any human eye could see. Their mission was simple: conquer Earth and claim it as part of their empire. But no one on Earth could imagine what was about to happen. The first sign came. As strange signals, scientists at observatories noticed unusual readings, flashes of energy and patterns that made no sense. At first, they thought it was a mistake, a malfunction in their machines. But soon, the signals became stronger. They were not random. They were messages, or warnings. Governments around the world scrambled to respond. Military bases were put on high alert. Fighter jets stood ready, and satellites were directed toward the unknown source. People on the streets had no idea, but in the shadows, fear grew quietly in orbit. Satellites suddenly detected massive objects moving toward Earth. They were unlike anything humans had seen before: ships, bigger than mountains. Strange metals and emitting energy fields that made instruments fail. The news spread quickly among top scientists and leaders. Panic mixed with awe. Humanity had never faced anything like this. Some people prayed. Some people argued about how to fight, but most could only watch, waiting for the first move. Then it happened. A scout ship from the Armada entered Earth's atmosphere. It was enormous, glowing with lights that no human had ever seen. It hovered silently over the oceans, and its shadow cast a strange darkness over the waves. Military satellites tracked it, trying to measure its size, speed, and weapons. But nothing could explain the readings. The ship seemed alive, almost thinking for itself. And then, without warning, it vanished. 1 second it was there, the next it was gone. No explosion, no trace, nothing. Only silence. The world went silent too. Scientists stared at their screens in disbelief. Military leaders rubbed their eyes, convinced it was a mistake. News channels were flooded with reports of a missing alien ship. People whispered rumors. Some said it was cloaked. Some said it was destroyed by some unknown power on Earth. But no one knew for sure. The truth was far stranger than anyone imagined. Then the Armada arrived. Hundreds of massive ships appeared on radar, moving in perfect formation. The sky was suddenly full of objects so large and numerous that even the largest human satellites could barely contain the view. Panic spread across Earth like wildfire. Governments called emergency meetings. Citizens were urged to stay calm, but fear was everywhere. Soldiers were deployed, jets scrambled, missiles were readied. Humanity was facing its first true test. The alien fleet began to move closer, and then the impossible happened. One by one, the ships disappeared. First, the smaller fighters, then the larger cruisers, then the enormous command ships. Showed nothing. Telescopes saw nothing. Radar picked up nothing. It was as if the entire Armada had simply vanished into thin air. People began to scream, cheer, and cry, all at the same time. No human had ever felt such a mix of fear and awe. On Earth, scientists and military leaders rushed to understand. Examined every reading, every signal, every trace. Nothing made sense. How could such a huge fleet vanish in moments? Was it technology beyond comprehension, or something else entirely? Some began to suspect that Earth itself had hidden powers, forces humanity had never discovered. Others were afraid to even consider the possibility. Meanwhile, deep underground, places humans rarely explored, ancient devices started to hum. Strange energies pulsed through the ground, reaching toward the surface. Scientists noticed minor anomalies, shifts in gravity, electromagnetic spikes, and strange vibrations. Could it be that Earth was alive in ways no one had known? Could it be that the planet itself had defended its inhabitants without anyone realizing? Above the planet, the remnants of the alien fleet were gone. Commanders of the Armada were in shock. Their sensors had failed, their weapons had failed, and their orders had no effect. The invasion had begun and ended in moments. Across the galaxy, other civilizations who had been watching wondered what had happened. How could a small blue planet stop an Imperial armada without even firing a shot? Back on Earth, people celebrated quietly at first, then loudly. Cities lit up with joy, but there was also fear. If the aliens came again, would Earth be ready? Could humans survive another attack? Leaders knew they had won a small victory, but the war for survival was just beginning, and far above. In the dark reaches of space, strange signals continued to pulse from Earth. They were faint, almost invisible to the untrained eye, but they were there. Something had awakened, and it had made a statement to the universe. Earth was not weak. Earth was not to be taken lightly. And humanity had only begun to understand its own power. The Armada had arrived, and in moments, it vanished. But the story was far from over. The stars were watching, and now so was the galaxy. The world was still in shock. Just a day ago, people had seen the Imperial Armada approaching Earth, ready to conquer. Now, all of it was gone. Not a single ship remained in the sky. Radar showed nothing. Satellites showed nothing. Humanity could not believe what had happened. Governments called emergency meetings. Scientists scrambled to make sense of the event. Nobody had answers, but everyone knew one thing: Earth had survived something impossible. In the skies above, where millions had expected a battle, there it was only silence. Airplanes flew cautiously. Military jets patrolled the horizon, but nothing appeared. People looked up at the empty sky in disbelief. Some whispered that the aliens had retreated. Some thought they had been destroyed. But no one could explain how a fleet so large, so powerful, could vanish without a trace. Scientists worked around the clock. Observatories, satellites, and radar stations reported strange anomalies. Energy readings spiked in ways no one understood. Some instruments failed completely, while others showed faint pulses coming from Earth itself. The pulses were tiny, almost imperceptible, but they repeated in a steady rhythm. It was as if the planet itself was alive, reacting to the arrival of the Armada. On the news, experts debated what had happened. Some claimed it was advanced alien technology that caused their ships to disappear. Others suggested Earth had some secret defense that had never been discovered. The truth, however, was far stranger. Deep beneath the surface, hidden for thousands of years, a force had awoken. Ancient structures and devices, long forgotten, hummed with power. They had waited for this moment, and now they acted. Military leaders tried to prepare for the next attack. Ships were repaired, weapons readied, and strategies revised. But even the most advanced human technology could not explain what had occurred. Pilots reported strange flashes in the sky. Radar operators saw brief distortions. Scientists suggested that some unknown energy had erased the Armada in moments. Yet nobody could understand how or why. Meanwhile, in the heart of space, survivors from the Armada tried to regroup. Communications were lost. Commanders were confused. Ships that should have been functional were suddenly offline, systems failing. Without reason, panic spread among the alien forces. They could not see Earth as a normal planet. It was not just defended, they were being erased, removed from the battlefield entirely. Back on Earth, people began to notice subtle changes. Electronic devices sometimes glitched, compasses spun strangely, and animals behaved oddly. Birds avoided certain areas, fish moved differently in rivers, and even weather patterns seemed slightly off. Scientists rushed to study the changes. They hypothesized that whatever had destroyed the Armada had left a trace. A faint energy field that humans were only beginning to detect. In the capital cities of the world, leaders faced a dilemma. Should they announce the truth to the public? How could they explain that a mysterious power had saved humanity? Some wanted to warn the world of future attacks, so others thought silence was safer. But no matter what they decided, one fact remained. Clear Earth was no longer ordinary. It was extraordinary, and the galaxy would notice soon enough. Reports from astronauts in orbit added to the mystery. They claimed to see faint lights deep beneath the surface of the planet, moving in patterns. That made no sense. Some saw massive shadows shifting under the oceans. Others reported strange magnetic pulses that interfered with navigation systems. The astronauts were not sure what they were seeing, but they agreed on one thing: something on Earth had acted. To protect the planet, news of the vanished Armada spread across the globe. Citizens celebrated, but fear lingered. People knew this could happen again. If a second Armada came, would Earth survive a larger attack? Military experts debated strategies, but they realized that conventional weapons might not be enough. Humanity had survived a miracle, and that miracle was not fully understood in secret. Intelligence agencies reported unusual signals coming from deep underground. Machines, computers, and detectors could barely measure them. The signals pulsed in steady rhythms, almost like a heartbeat. Scientists who studied them were both amazed and terrified. Whatever had happened, it was alive, intelligent, and incredibly powerful, and it had made its presence known to the universe. Across the galaxy, other alien civilizations watched Earth closely. Messages were sent, reports filed, and fleets observed silently. The fact that an Imperial Armada, the strongest force in known space, had vanished without a fight shocked everyone. Some species were curious, some afraid, and some plotted to take advantage of the unknown. But all of them agreed on one thing: Earth was now dangerous. Meanwhile, on Earth, life slowly returned to normal. Children played, workers went to jobs, and the news moved on to other stories. But in hidden labs, underground bunkers, and observatories, humans studied every anomaly. They tried to understand the force that had protected them. And though they had answers yet, one truth became clear: was not a weak planet, and humans were not just ordinary beings. And far above, where the Armada once hovered, a faint shimmer of energy lingered in space. It was subtle, almost invisible, but it spoke a warning to the galaxy. Earth could defend itself, and it would not be conquered easily. The Armada had vanished, but its disappearance marked the beginning of something greater. Humanity had survived. The impossible and the universe had noticed. After the Armada vanished, Earth was quiet again, but not normal. Scientists, military leaders, and even ordinary people sensed a change. Something in the planet had woken up. Something that no one had ever seen before. Strange energy pulses continued to radiate from deep underground. Machines could barely detect them, but they were real. The Earth itself seemed alive, watching and protecting. Dr. Elena Morris, leading physicist, had spent her life studying ancient technologies buried beneath the surface. For decades, she had dismissed myths about Earth's hidden power as legends, but now the legends felt real. Her instruments recorded vibrations, energy spikes, and magnetic pulses that made no sense. It was as if the planet had a mind of its own, and for the first time she realized that humanity might not be as weak as everyone thought. Military bases around the world were buzzing with activity. Soldiers and pilots trained day and night. Jets flew missions and missile systems were on standby, but even the most advanced weapons seemed almost unnecessary. Whatever had erased the Armada was beyond conventional understanding. Leaders asked themselves a single question: could humans control this power, or would it act on its own? Meanwhile, deep underground, hidden chambers and ancient structures began to glow faintly. Strange symbols pulsed on walls and floors, lighting up in patterns that resembled circuits. Scientists like Dr. Morris realized that these were not just old machines. They were part of a system designed to protect the planet and its inhabitants. Some devices reacted to the presence of the Armada, amplifying energy in ways humans could barely measure. Earth had been keeping these defenses secret for centuries. Waiting for the right moment, Elena's team decided to test the system carefully. They drilled into a deep cavern, setting up sensors and instruments. As soon as the machines connected, a soft hum filled the air. Energy flowed like water through cables, and lights danced along the walls. A panel opened, revealing a core device. Unlike anything humanity had ever seen, it was alive in a strange way, as if it could think, sense, and respond. When Elena touched it, she felt a pulse like a heartbeat, strong, steady, and powerful. Above the planet, satellites and space observatories noticed a strange effect. The same faint pulses from underground reached the upper atmosphere. Energy. Fields shifted slightly. Electromagnetic waves bent in ways that baffled scientists. Some suggested that Earth was creating a shield, invisible but real, that could stop any attack. And perhaps it had been doing this for centuries, silently waiting for humans to reach a certain level of awareness in government chambers. Leaders debated the possibilities. Could Earth's hidden power be used offensively? Could humanity control it, or would it remain a mystery? Some were cautious, fearing that trying to harness the energy could be dangerous. Others argued that if humanity did not understand its own strength, enemies might try again next time. The outcome might not be the same. Meanwhile, ordinary people began to notice small anomalies. Compasses spun without reason, electronics glitched, and sometimes strange lights appeared in the sky at night. Birds, animals, and even plants seemed more active. Farmers reported that crops grew faster, while fishermen noticed unusual fish patterns. It was subtle, but the world was changing. Earth was alive and humans were beginning to notice. Dr. Morris realized that humanity's advantage was not just technology or weapons, it was the planet itself. Earth had been waiting for a moment like this, a moment when humans were ready to survive a threat too powerful for them to fight alone. And now, with the Armada gone, humans had a choice: learn to understand this power or remain unaware of the greatest secret the planet had ever kept. Elsewhere, in the far reaches of the galaxy, other civilizations noticed Earth's strange signal. The Imperial Armada had vanished, and faint energy waves radiated from the planet. Alien species watched closely, trying to understand what had happened. Reports called humans dangerous, unpredictable, and extremely resilient. Some feared Earth. Others were curious, wondering what might happen if humans discovered how to use this hidden force back on Earth. Dr. Morris's team continued their experiments. They discovered that the devices underground responded to human thought and emotion. Fear, courage, and determination seemed to strengthen the energy pulses. It was as if Earth itself recognized intent. Humans were not just protected by this force, they could influence it if they understood it. The realization sent a thrill through the scientific community. For the first time, humanity was not just surviving in the universe. Humans had the potential to become a force beyond imagination. They were unpredictable, creative, and now, perhaps guided by the planet itself. As night fell, Alina looked up. At the stars, somewhere out there, the Armada's commanders were reporting their defeat. Other civilizations were watching, waiting, and calculating. Earth had survived an impossible attack, and humans had only begun to understand why. The planet pulsed gently beneath her feet, a silent heartbeat that promised protection, power, and perhaps the dawn of a new era. The hidden edge of humanity had awakened. The galaxy would never forget it. News of Earth's survival spread across the galaxy faster than any signal humans could send. The Imperial Armada had vanished in moments, leaving no trace, and word reached distant civilizations. For the first time in known history, humans were being noticed. Some aliens were curious, some were afraid. Others whispered warnings about the unpredictable planet called Earth. On Earth, ordinary people went about their lives unaware of the cosmic attention they had drawn. Scientists, however, were not surprised. Dr. Elena Morris and her team had been studying the planet's hidden energy. They knew something extraordinary had happened. The energy that had erased the Armada was still pulsing beneath the surface. It was subtle but powerful, a force ready to act if needed in the vast reaches of space. Alien governments held urgent councils. Representatives from several species argued fiercely. "That planet is dangerous," one diplomat warned. There. Technology, if they even understand it, could challenge entire fleets. Another added, "No, it is not just technology. Something alive protects them. Earth itself is the weapon." The debate continued, but one fact was clear: Earth could no longer be ignored. Meanwhile, some alien civilizations saw opportunity. If Earth was powerful, it could be an ally. They sent secret scouts, disguised as harmless travelers, to observe the humans. These spies were careful, blending in. Watching how humanity responded to the strange energy, how humans organized themselves, and how they survived crises. Reports called humans unpredictable and dangerous. The aliens did not understand the planet, but they respected its power. Back on Earth, the military and scientists were focused on understanding the hidden energy. Machines detected subtle pulses, while underground chambers glowed faintly. It was as if the planet was alive, waiting for the right moment to reveal its full strength. Dr. Maurice realized that Earth's power responded not only to threats, but to human intent. Courage, fear, and determination shaped the energy.
Humans
Were no longer passive, they could influence the planet itself. The first signs of alien presence came subtly. Satellites detected faint energy signals that did not match any human activity. Unexplained objects appeared briefly in the sky, moving too fast to track. Radar showed small metallic shapes entering the atmosphere and leaving within moments. At first, scientists thought it was a natural phenomenon, but soon patterns emerged. Someone or something was watching. Governments grew nervous. Are they scouts, spies, or enemies preparing for another attack? Leaders asked. Military forces were put on high alert, but the energy beneath Earth's surface remained the true defense. Humans had survived once, but could they survive if the aliens returned in force? No one knew the answer, yet they felt a strange confidence. Something had shifted. Humanity was no longer ordinary. In one city, a young astronomer named Raj noticed a small craft hovering near the atmosphere. Unlike conventional satellites or planes, it had no propulsion noise. It moved with perfect precision. Raj reported the sighting to authorities, but before a team could investigate, the craft vanished, leaving behind faint traces of energy. Experts who analyzed the traces were stunned. The energy matched the pulses coming from underground. It was as if Earth itself had reacted to the spy, sending a message: do not underestimate us. Across the galaxy, alien civilizations began to take different stances. Some wanted to communicate to form alliances with humans. Others began secret plans to neutralize the threat, fearing the planet's hidden power. Reports called Earth the wild card, a force that could not be predicted or controlled. And Earth itself remained quiet, hiding its full potential, waiting for humans to awaken fully to their hidden edge. In underground chambers, Dr. Morris's team continued experiments. They discovered that the energy not only erased threats, but could also enhance human abilities. Simple machines operated faster, materials became stronger, and subtle gravitational shifts occurred near test sites. It was not magic, it was a force that responded to intelligence, willpower, and courage. Humans were connected to the planet in ways no alien could understand. As weeks passed, more unusual phenomena appeared. Migrating animals changed routes, weather patterns shifted slightly, and electromagnetic readings puzzled scientists worldwide. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but the planet was alive, active, and ready. Humans were beginning to see that survival depended not only on weapons or strategy, but on understanding their world and themselves. And in the darkest corners of space, hidden fleets and spies observed every signal, every pulse, and every unusual event. They were cautious now, realizing that Earth was not just another planet to conquer. Humans had survived an impossible attack, awakened hidden power, and were learning to control it. On Earth, people remained unaware of the galactic attention. They lived their daily lives, laughed, argued, and dreamed. But beneath their feet, the planet pulsed steadily, like a heartbeat waiting for the next test. Humanity's hidden edge was growing stronger. The galaxy was watching, and the moment was approaching when Earth would no longer be ignored. One day, the spies would reveal themselves. One day, the alien fleets would return. But when that day came, humans would not be ordinary. They would be a force unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. For now, Earth waited. The hidden energy pulsed silently, the underground machines hummed, and humanity's courage quietly strengthened. The galaxy's attention had been drawn. A story was beginning, one that would echo across the stars. Earth had survived the Imperial Armada, but peace was short-lived. Unknown forces were watching, and some decided to test humanity. First attack came not from hundreds of ships like before, but from a small, advanced alien race determined to see if Earth was truly defenseless. They believed the planet had hidden power, but they wanted proof. Late at night, in the skies above the Pacific Ocean, strange lights appeared. At first, they were tiny, almost like meteors. Then, they grew larger, forming a small fleet of sleek, black ships. They moved silently, avoiding detection as much as possible. Satellites picked them up, but the readings were unusual. Their energy signatures were unlike anything humans had seen. Military leaders were alarmed. It was the first real test since the Armada vanished. Dr. Alina Morris and her team monitored the energy pulses coming from underground. The planet responded immediately. Subtle vibrations ran through the ground. Machines hummed with power. It was as if Earth sensed the threat and was preparing to act. Scientists watched in awe as the pulses intensified, creating an invisible shield that distorted sensors. The attacker's ship suddenly flickered on radar, then disappeared for brief moments, only to reappear a few kilometers away. Military forces scrambled jets and missiles. Fighter pilots took to the skies, uncertain what they would face. Yet no conventional weapons seemed to affect the enemy fleet. Lasers passed through shields, as if they were mist. Missiles detonated harmlessly in the void. It was clear to everyone this was not a normal battle. The planet itself was part of the fight. On the ground, civilians watched the night sky light up. Bright streaks of energy flashed across the horizon. Aliens expected fear, chaos, and surrender. Instead, they saw humanity, organizing quickly. Satellites and radar stations coordinated in real time. Civilians helped with emergency signals, and scientists relayed critical data to military leaders. Humans were not panicking, they were adapting. In orbit, an astronaut saw something extraordinary. Faint energy pulses rose from deep underground, forming visible distortions around the alien ships. The fleet shuddered, their formations breaking as systems malfunctioned inexplicably. Communications among the aliens grew frantic. "What is this? They using some hidden weapon?" one commander shouted. The humans had no clue how much the planet itself was protecting them. On Earth's surface, Dr. Morris realized that the energy could be influenced. By focusing intent and emotion, humans could guide it subtly. They did not need to understand every detail. Courage and determination amplified the pulses naturally. The first missile the humans fired missed intentionally, but the next strike guided. By Earth's energy hit a critical point in the alien formation. Ships faltered, some malfunctioned entirely, and the fleet's coordination collapsed. The aliens tried to retreat, but Earth was relentless. Invisible energy fields disrupted propulsion systems, forcing some ships to crash into the ocean. Others flickered out of existence briefly, reappearing far from their intended targets. Humans had not fired a single destructive weapon directly at them. The planet itself had photonned one. Back in the control rooms, military leaders and scientists stared in disbelief. The first test had proven something extraordinary. Earth was alive, powerful, and responsive. Humans could survive not because of machines or weapons alone, but because the planet itself was on their side. It was a hidden edge no enemy could anticipate. The aliens finally withdrew, leaving behind damaged ships and scattered debris. On radar, they appeared to vanish, retreating faster than they had arrived. For the first time, humans felt a mixture of triumph and awe. They had faced an advanced enemy, and yet they were unharmed. The secret of the planet's power was still only partially understood, but its effect was undeniable. In the aftermath, scientists documented everything. Energy spikes, distortions, and anomalies were recorded in detail, Dr. Morris explained. Two military leaders that humans were connected to the planet in a unique way. Fear, courage, and focus could shape the energy. Earth was not just a battlefield, it was a living ally, ready to defend its people against any threat. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, alien civilizations noticed the battle. Reports called humans unpredictable, dangerous, and assisted by their planet itself. Some wondered if Earth could survive a larger attack. Others debated whether humans should be allies or enemies. The galaxy had learned one undeniable fact: humans were no longer ordinary. On Earth, life slowly returned to normal, but humans were different. They had faced a true test and survived without losing a single person. Confidence grew, not from arrogance, but from understanding that they were part of something great, a planet that protected them, and a potential they had only begun to tap. As night fell, the pulses from deep underground quieted slightly, but they had left a lingering presence. It was a warning to anyone who might consider attacking again. Earth had passed its first real test, and humanity, guided by courage, intelligence, and the hidden power beneath their feet, had proven that they were not to be underestimated. Galaxy had taken notice, and the story of Earth's survival was just beginning. Far beyond Earth, in the grand halls of the Galactic Council, voices rose in heated debate. Representatives from countless worlds argued fiercely. The Imperial Armada had vanished, and the news of Earth's hidden power had reached every corner of known space. Some saw humans as a threat, others saw opportunity, but all agreed on one point: Earth could no longer be ignored. "This planet is dangerous," said a tall reptilian delegate, his voice sharp and cold. "Their fleet survived without losing a single person. Their technology, or whatever force they used, is beyond anything we have encountered." He slammed a clawed hand on the table. "If we allow them to grow unchecked, they could challenge." The council itself, a smaller blue-skinned delegate, responded calmly. "Perhaps they are not a threat. Perhaps they are simply unique. We should attempt contact before making judgments. They may become valuable allies." Murmurs spread around the chamber. Some delegates nodded, others bristled. No one had the right answer. Meanwhile, a holographic display showed the events on Earth. The council members watched the vanished Armada, the pulses of energy rising from the planet, and the first test when the small alien fleet had been repelled. Some were fascinated. Others were terrified. Every species in the council had its own theory, but none could explain how an ordinary planet could destroy or scatter advanced forces with no casualties. The debate continued. "If humans are unpredictable," argued another delegate, "we must control them, either by diplomacy or by force. Ignoring them could be catastrophic." Another voice spoke up, quieter but full of conviction. "If we try to control them, we risk provoking them. They survived the Armada. Imagine what they could do if cornered." What are so solemn? A sullen or so son os or sense some solemn some sense on so sense some sense on sense some Some wanted to attack, believing humans were inexperienced and could be subdued. Others sent spies, disguised in every possible form, to study Earth's defenses. Everyone wanted answers, but few dared approach too closely. The faint pulses of energy from the planet warned them that humans were not alone. Back on Earth, humans sensed something was coming. Satellites picked up faint moving energy patterns in space. Scientists analyzed them and realized that the Council, or at least its scouts, were observing. Military leaders prepared quietly, but the real strength was still hidden underground. The planet's pulse had grown stronger after the first test, and humans were learning to work with it. Courage, focus, and determination shaped the energy, making Earth almost untouchable. Dr. Alina Morris explained to the leaders, "They are watching us. Out. The Council knows about the Armada and our survival. They attack or even test us again. We'll face not just our weapons, but the planet itself, and we can influence it. Our success depends on understanding that connection. Across the galaxy, debates raged. The Council considered multiple options. Some wanted to establish contact, hoping humans would join a galactic alliance. Some wanted to threaten Earth, to show that resistance would not be tolerated. And a few, secretly, wanted to prepare for war, just in case humans proved too strong to control. The dilemma was clear. Earth could be an ally, a threat, or a legend, as decisions dragged on. Spies and scouts approached the planet cautiously. They reported strange anomalous ships malfunctioning, instruments failing, and energy waves pulsing unpredictably. Some claimed that the planet itself seemed to act intentionally, as if testing the invaders, reading their movements and responding. Every report made the Council more nervous. Back on Earth, ordinary life continued, but humans were changing. Soldiers trained differently. Scientists explored new ways to interact with the planet's energy. And leaders realized that the next challenge would not come from conventional warfare. It would come from the galaxy itself, and humanity had only just begun to understand its hidden edge. Finally, after hours of debate, the Council reached no consensus. Some argued for diplomacy, others for force, but uncertainty lingered. Every delegate knew one thing: Earth was unpredictable. Humans had survived the impossible, and the planet itself had fought with them. No one could calculate their true potential, and in the quiet moments deep beneath Earth, the energy pulsed steadily, machines hummed, symbols glowed faintly. Planet waited, ready to defend its people again if needed. Humans were learning. Courage and determination shaped the force. Every heartbeat of the planet synchronized with the hearts of its defenders. The Council had a dilemma. It could attempt diplomacy, risk attack, or observe in silence. Whatever choice they made, Earth had already proven one truth. Humans were not ordinary. They were unpredictable, resilient, and guided by something far greater than themselves, and somewhere in the galaxy. In shadowed observation decks, alien spies whispered, "We cannot fight them. Not yet. Perhaps we should learn from them instead." 4. Now the galaxy waited. The Council debated. Fleets prepared silently, and Earth pulsed, quietly, steadily, ready for whatever came next. Humanity's hidden edge was growing stronger. The universe had no idea what it would unleash when fully awakened. The warnings had come too late. Across the galaxy, an enormous fleet gathered, larger and more powerful than the vanished Imperial. Armada, their commanders believed, this time they would succeed. Earth had survived before. Yes, but they assumed it was luck. They assumed humans were weak. They were wrong. In the skies above Earth, strange lights appeared first as small points, then multiplied into hundreds of ships. Satellites trembled under the energy waves radiating from the approaching fleet. Military bases scrambled jets, missiles, and defenses, but the humans were calm. They had learned the planet itself was their greatest ally. The pulse of energy beneath Earth's surface had grown stronger, more responsive. It sensed every threat, every move, and reacted faster than any human could command. Dr. Elena Morris and her team watched the energy readings in awe. The underground machines hummed, symbols glowed, and the air vibrated slightly. "It's responding," she whispered. "Not just to the fleet. To us, it's learning." Around the world, scientists and military leaders realized that this was not just defense. It was something alive, something connected to humanity itself. The alien fleet moved closer, expecting resistance, but not like this. Invisible energy. Fields formed around cities, oceans, and mountains. Ships attempting to enter Earth's orbit flickered, systems failed, and communications jammed. Propulsion systems sputtered, as if the atmosphere itself had become a trap. Every maneuver the aliens tried was countered instantly, not by humans, but by the planet. Pilots and fighter jets flew into the skies, unsure what would happen. Lasers. Missiles and attacks passed through empty space, striking nothing. Then, guided subtly by the pulses from underground, human technology activated in ways never imagined. Defensive turrets fired with perfect precision. Missiles found weak points automatically. Energy shields reflected attacks in ways no engineer could explain. Humanity and the planet were in perfect harmony. From the alien perspective, it was chaos. Ships collided, engines failed, weapons malfunctioned. A destroyer tried to fire on a city, only to vanish momentarily, reappearing miles away, damaged and confused. Commanders shouted orders, but the signals never reached the right ships. The humans seemed everywhere, nowhere, and the planet's force was everywhere at once. On the ground, people watched the skies with awe. They had survived before, but now they saw the full scale of Earth's hidden power. Cities were unharmed, rivers flowed normally, and the night sky lit up with flashes of energy. Some people cheered, some could only stare in disbelief. And above it all, the pulse of the planet continued, steady and strong, like the heartbeat of a giant. Invisible Guardian, the aliens regrouped, trying to adapt. But the planet was faster, smarter. Every strategy failed, the fleet's weapons. Overloaded, some ships even exploded from unknown forces, not human fire. The attackers could not understand what was happening. They had faced advanced civilizations before, but never a planet fighting back intelligently, deliberately, and in perfect synchronization with its inhabitants. In the command centers on Earth, Dr. Morris explained to the military, they are learning the wrong lesson. They think they can fight humans. But the real force is the planet itself, and we can guide it. Soldiers watched in amazement as subtle gestures, changes in focus, small movements of equipment amplified the pulses, directing them with precision. Humans were not just surviving. They were controlling the battlefield without firing a single direct shot. The alien fleet began to retreat, but Earth was relentless. Invisible energy waves pushed them back, disabled their engines, and caused mass confusion. Some ships vanished entirely, as if removed from existence. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Commanders of the fleet sent desperate signals, begging for retreat and reporting losses they could not explain. Finally, the skies above Earth cleared. Not a single ship remained. Cities were untouched. Humans had suffered no casualties. Beneath the ground, the pulse of the planet slowed slightly, as if satisfied with the outcome. Humans had survived the ultimate test, and in doing so, they had revealed their true strength. Across the galaxy, the news spread like wildfire. Aliens whispered in fear and awe. Humans were not just survivors. They were a force guided by the planet itself, unpredictable, intelligent, and impossible to destroy. Earth had proven that it was more than a planet. It was a living, breathing ally of humanity, and humans had learned to command its power. On Earth, people celebrated quietly at first, then more loudly. Soldiers, scientists, and civilians alike shared stories of survival. They knew that the galaxy had witnessed something extraordinary, deep underground. The machines hummed softly, symbols glowing faintly, waiting for the next threat. Humanity had passed its ultimate test stand. The hidden edge was stronger than ever. The stars above were silent witnesses. The galaxy had learned a truth it could not forget. Earth was not weak. Humanity was not ordinary. And the next time anyone threatened the planet, they would face not just humans, but the full power of the living world itself. The galaxy was silent. After the ultimate battle, no one dared speak too loudly. The alien fleets had vanished. Not a single ship remained above Earth. No one could explain how the planet itself had fought, how humans had survived without losing a single life, and how the Armada had been erased from existence. Across the stars, civilizations whispered. In disbelief, in the grand halls of the Galactic Council, delegates stared at holographic reports of Earth's victory. Every reading, every pulse, every failed attack was displayed in glowing charts. Reptilian delegates banged their claws on the tables. Impossible, they shouted. They cannot have done this. Entire fleets destroyed, without a single human casualty? Other members shook their heads in awe and fear. The council was silent for long moments, unsure what to do. Earth had proven itself beyond any known measure of power. Back on Earth, humans were celebrating quietly. Cities lit up in joy, but the leaders knew the galaxy was watching. Dr. Elena Morris and her team analyzed the pulses of energy beneath the surface. The planet had fought with them, amplified their courage and determination, and protected every person on Earth. For the first time, humans realized they were not alone. They had a living ally, a force that could not be measured, controlled, or predicted. Military leaders walked through streets of cheering civilians. Pilots shared stories of alien ships vanishing mid-flight. Soldiers recounted strange energy waves, disabling weapons, and scientists marveled at the planet's hidden systems. Humanity had survived not because of technology or weapons alone, but because Earth itself had chosen to defend its children. High above, in the depths of space, observers recorded the energy signatures radiating from Earth. They pulsed steadily, calmly, but with undeniable strength. It was a message to the galaxy: never threaten this planet again. Alien civilizations watched in awe, some trembling, some whispering about alliances, and some quietly retreating. The word spread: humans were not weak, they were not ordinary, and Earth was not to be conquered. On the ground, Dr. Morris explained to the leaders, humans and Earth are connected. Courage, focus, and determination guide the energy. This is not just survival, it is the planet itself helping us become stronger. We must respect it, understand it, and continue learning. The leaders nodded, realizing that humanity's real strength was far greater than any weapon they could build. Across the galaxy, secret agents and scouts reported back. They are unlike any species we have encountered, one whispered. They survived the Armada. They survived our test fleet. And the planet itself protects them. We cannot fight this. Not now, not ever. Other civilizations took note. Alliances shifted. Plans to attack or control Earth were quietly abandoned. Humanity had set a precedent that could not be ignored. In the skies, satellites recorded subtle energy pulses, continuing to rise from the planet's core. The machines underground hummed softly, almost in a lull, but ready for any challenge. Humans had won the impossible, and yet they had not fully learned the limits of their power. Every heartbeat of the planet synchronized with the people above, a living connection that promised both protection and potential. Children played freely, unaware of how close disaster had come. Farmers worked, fishermen cast their nets, and cities buzzed with life. But the adults knew a truth that would change humanity forever. Earth was alive. Humans were not alone, and the galaxy would never forget what had happened. They had survived the ultimate test, and they had awakened the hidden edge of their species. The Galactic Council remained silent for days, unable to debate or make decisions. They had underestimated humans. They'd underestimated Earth, and now they faced a reality they could not ignore. Humanity had emerged from the trials of war and threat not just alive, but stronger, smarter, and legendary, and far underground. In the glowing chambers and humming machines, the planet pulsed quietly. Symbols flickered with soft light, responding to the collective courage of humanity. It was as if Earth itself was saying, "We are ready for whatever comes next. Threaten us, and you will face more than humans alone. You will face the planet itself." Above the planet, the stars shone brighter. Across the galaxy, whispers of awe and fear spread. Humans were no longer ordinary. They were a force, united with their planet, unpredictable and unstoppable. The legend of Earth and its people began to grow, a story that would be told. In every corner of the galaxy for centuries, humanity had survived the impossible. Humanity had mastered courage, intelligence, and connection with the living world beneath their feet. The Armada had vanished. Alien fleets had retreated. The Council was stunned. And one truth echoed across the universe: Earth would never be conquered. Humans looked up at the stars and smiled, knowing their planet had their back. For the first time, they felt it fully. Humanity, F***, yeah.